Welcome back. B feature time here at the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. 16 laps, top four will advance. And let's take a look at the lineup here. On the front row, Connor Dudek. And on the pole with Jay Schaaf on his outside. And in row number 2, Hayden Cardwell, last week's feature winner. And alongside him, Scott King. Austin Seleman and Chase Copeland will be making up row number 3. And row 4, Casey Simmons and Tayton Sander. Row 5. Braden Jones, Parker Annis, and John Fall making up the remaining part of the grid. So here we go. So top 7 into the feature tonight to make up the 22 car grid for tonight's 35 lap A feature.
Now, I wonder how this race is going to be, Adam. I mean, we did see a little bit of chaos in the C main. It was drivers giving us one heck of a battle to talk about, and then occasionally ending in catastrophe. But now here in the B main, do you think that's going to be maybe cranked up even more with the stakes being a bit higher? How exactly do you think this race is going to go, Adam? Me personally, I think it's going to be a bit tamer. I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say this race is going to be somewhat tame.
No, I don't think so. It's your last chance qualifier, pretty much. It's the last chance, the LCQ, to get into tonight's 35 lap A main and potentially win some money here tonight. First place gets $100 here. Green flag will fly, and away we go. Hayden Cardwell gets off the line nicely and goes out to the immediate race lead here. And actually, we have more cars than that. We had 17. For some reason, the rest weren't populating. So, thanks, iRacing. But here we go. As Jay Schaaf has now fallen down to third. Connor Dudek right now out in front of Hayden Cardwell. Scott King in fourth. Casey Simmons in fifth. Parker Annis is in sixth place. Seth Gregory in seventh. Tayton Sander eighth. Braden Jones in ninth, making up the top 10. Austin Seleman is now the fastest lap of the race. Goes to Seth Gregory, and caution out on the Speedway here. A couple of cars getting involved into a wreck. Tayton Sander and Austin Semmelman involved. Let's take a look and see what happened here, Ron.
Yeah, so seeing the pretext too, this is heading off through 3 and 4. You can see some 3-wide racing briefly fanning out, and there you can see the dive off into the turn. Actually, contact a little bit farther up the road. We already had a driver upside down, kind of wall riding it. Ross Chastain brought up to an extreme through 1 and 2. Not sure who that was who ended up being on their lid, but the contact right behind did not do anything to ease the action, as that driver who ended up hitting the outside wall nearly center punched the car that was already up against the fence. There are many times where I am quite happy that this is an iRacing event instead of real life, and this is one of those, because if that car was a couple of feet farther away and that wasn't real life, we'd probably have to read off an obituary for Sander right there.
Unfortunate there, as that sprint car went from a winged sprint car to a non-winged sprint car. In this B main, we are lap 3 of 14 here. As we get the field single filed up. And we're going to get back racing one more time here at USA International Speedway. So, green flag will fly. Oh, we got a little bit of wheelie action happening there. I think maybe contact induced right there, but now everybody figuring out the now grab away from Hayden Carwell. Single file restarts a lot better than double file restarts, I'll tell you that much. Now the field through 3 and 4 comes across the start finish line here, and contact. Oh, and there it goes. And that should bring out another caution. Nope. Yeah, Brandon Jones involved, and yes, finally a caution does come out. So we saw it, we caught kind of right before it started. So here comes Copeland going up to the high side, gets a run, gets cut off, and now, yep, let the melee begin. Not sure who was making that second part of contact there. Is that Parker Annis, I want to say, maybe? But Brandon Jones getting the worst of that.
Yeah, I believe the car right behind it was Parker Annis that got hit there, and I think it may have potentially been Train Sander in the number 17 car after having that damage a bit earlier on. That's a shame for both racers, but unfortunate for the driver of the number 33 car in particular, Ennis getting hit up the rear.
Gotta love it. Gotta love sprint car racing, because you just never know what's going to happen. You can see now, look at how much rubber is on this racetrack. It's treacherous out there. This is the kind of racing where if you try and go down bottom, you better commit to it, and you can stay there through the corner, especially alongside, because I mean that's just ice in a 410 wing sprint car. So watch all these guys. They're going to probably stay up towards the top side, because the top side where the cushion is laid out there, you can see that line between the racetrack and where the dirt's piled up is a little bit better. Here we go. Green flag once again flies. And Connor Dudek right now out in front. Hayden Cardwell, good restart there. Who is that up to the top side? That was Jay Shape. He was trying to bust a move here early, as he is now falling backwards here. A lot of guys going down to the bottom side and making it work out. Jay Shape is the only one in this top 5 up to the high side and is losing time. But you can see when you slide up the racetrack how much time you can lose there, because as you just saw there with Gregory, he has fallen back to P5 after he was just in the top 3. Now Hayden Cardwell going after Connor Dudek for the race lead here. Very close. Cardwell, middle of the racetrack, gets a run through side by side as they come across the line. And they are very close here, and caution is out. All right, who am I slapping?
Who's getting smacked here? That was unfortunate timing right as the battling was getting intense up the front. All right, seeing some droppers, some sideways snaps, but that's not nearly enough to bring out the yellow. This, on the other hand, maybe. It's heading off through down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Now, this would work out time-wise. See, I was going to say in reference to Shafe running that top side in P3, that would have probably worked out well. The only downside was, with the pace of running up there, you've got a very small cushion, and because there's a very small cushion, pretty much no wiggle room, and with no wiggle room, Shafe more often than not was shaving off the bodywork and pretty much everything on the right-hand side of that race car.
Oh, there it is. That's the Aiden Thornberry. Came in a little too hot. All right, 7 laps to go here. Still a lot to be decided. According to our race notes for tonight, only the top 4 advanced to the feature. I don't know if that's changed or not. because it's going to be a maximum of 22 cars into the A feature. We took the top 3. So 15. So yeah, we have to take 7 here. So the top 7 needing to will get into tonight's A feature. And look at all the cars bouncing up and down. They were ready to go, but those wing sprint cars, I tell you what, they will pop a wheelie if they have to. Cardwell getting a great run down the back straightaway will get in front of Connor Dudek after fighting all night in this one just to get back out in front. And we have an official new race leader, but they're still side by side for the race lead. Jay Shape trying to hold on to that top side and make it work. And Cardwell now finally getting a little bit of breathing room between himself and Connor Dudek. And now Jay Shape losing tons of ground here. He's lost 2 positions in the last couple of laps by staying on the top side. But here we go. Let's go back to our transfer spot of Ashton Farr, because he's having a battle here. Oh, Jay Shape getting loose. Actually, he doesn't even have a front wing anymore. That front wing is on his tire. It's on the ground. Oh, that is going to hurt him terribly, not having the downforce on the front end of these cars. And he is going to slide back. Guess what, Chase? That's going to allow Matthew Croak to get by if he can find a speed. 2 laps to go here for the final transfer spot. And there goes Croak. He's now into that final transfer spot, the 7th and final transfer spot, with just 2 laps to go. Now 1 lap to go here at USA International Speedway in the B feature. Jay Shape, he is going to be kicking himself after this one. But Hayden Cardwell, who had to wrestle his way through, he is going to come through. He is going to win the B feature. Connor Dudek in 2nd, Casey Simmons in 3rd, Seth Gregory 4th, Yancey Beasley in 5th, Ashton Farr in 6th, and Matthew Croak in the 7th and final transfer spot. Everybody else, their night is done.
Yeah, that was a wild one. Drivers missing their front wings and somehow not losing out on too much pace. I mean, that was a huge amount of downforce loss, Adam. You could definitely speak to that to a greater extent than I can. But even still, that is, you're losing pretty much the equivalent of like an elephant sitting on the front of the car. That is an insane loss of downforce. So the fact that they were able to even keep up some pace is truly unbelievable. But that just has continued on the way this racing has been. It's a shame that this track no longer exists, because we have had some absolute cookers of races thus far here tonight.
Well, it's been intense here so far. And now we get a nice little warm-up period here. Again, the track does reset. And I can imagine after the rubber we were seeing laid down, well, it's going to get a little bit interesting, this 35-lap A feature. And, of course, 35 laps, that's a long time. You don't see a lot of 35-lap A features in dirt sprint car racing. And back to your point, Ron, about the loss of downforce when you lose that front wing. It's a lot. I mean, you basically go from the car being planted on the front end to where it wants to go every which direction it wants to go, because that wing keeps it planted, and especially on a track like this where you're going to be relying on the aero downforce. So, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick pause here. We'll be right back with our 8 feature here live from USA International Speedway.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back here to Maconi Entertainment, live from USA International Speedway with the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. Adam Thompson, Ron Mons, bringing you the commentary and how he burrows on the cameras. So we are just getting ready to wrap up our warm-up period here, and we will do kind of a quick lightning round of what drivers to look for. Ron, who are you going to be looking at tonight?
Well, I think I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit here and say that our pole sitter in this upcoming race with Blake Carrick is going to be a driver to keep our eyes on. Not only does he have the very funny number 69 race car out here on the circuit, he was very fast in practice, third on the board then, the fastest qualifier, and was able to punch his way into this main show with a win in the first heat race of the night. We'll have to keep an eyes on him, and plus, considering that he didn't have to deal with any of the heat races outside the first one, he's probably the most refreshed out of anybody in this field. Probably feeling the least amount of stress, which, considering that we heard that fuel saving may be a factor in this race, I'm going to be keeping my eye out on him.
I'm going to be keeping my eye out tonight on Logan Rumsey. Was just one spot short last week from the win, but here tonight, I think he can get it done. He's got some serious pace in that car, so keep an eye out on him. Of course, as well, keep an eye on that number one machine of Kenny Hoffman. Looked really strong in his heat race earlier on in our broadcast here as checker flag falls here at USA, and we're going to get ready to go racing. 22 cars in 35 laps. Let's take a look at your starting lineup. And on the pole, it's going to be Blake Carrick, and on his outside, the 00 of Kendall Tucker. Row 2, Aiden Stoll and Aiden Forrester. In row number 3, Tanner Pettit and Tyler Schell. Row number 4 will feature Kenny Hoffman and Jeffrey Hyatt. Row 5, Landon Cardoza and Ryan Avila, excuse me. And then Bradley Cox and Anthony Villagarn. Row 7, Logan Rumsey starting in the 13th spot with Patrick Spengler in 14th. Ryan Sheet in the 15th starting position. So we do have 22 cars, but for some reason we're only being projected 15.
Yeah, I believe the rest of the field would be made up of Hayden Cardwell in the 07 car. The rest of the field were the ones that made it in through the A main, well, the B main, I should say, a couple of moments ago. But it's Cardwell from Dudek in P16 and 17th. Casey Simons in 18th place with Seth Gregory, Yancey Beasley in P19 and 20. Ashton Farr in 21st with Matthew Croak running after 22 cars starting grid here for this race, Adam.
Well, they're not even appearing.
They are out there on the circuit, so I'm going to chalk this up as some Illuminati situation right now. That or some aliens. You know, you can never rule out Martians.
All right. Well, I guess we're just gonna go with it.
They hit 88 miles an hour. They sent themselves back into 1875.
All right. Well, yeah, it does look like there's 22 cars out there, so
they're in witness protection.
Here we go.
Like everybody on
One more pace lap before we go green flag racing here around USA International Speedway. 35 laps, and as Ron mentioned, maybe some possible fuel saving. Also got to keep an eye on the track conditions. You know, it is a reset. No more rubber on that racetrack. So here we go. Field to turns 3 and 4. 35 laps on the board. It's showtime! Green flag will fly and away we go. Blake Carrick out in front. Right away off the mark, and here we go. Kendall Tucker will slot into second and trying to chase down. Now the rest of our drivers starting to appear on the live timing boards here as Aiden Stoll into third. Tanner Pettit battling here side by side trying to get into the fourth spot. Now Aiden Forrester slides himself into fourth, and big time contact into the wall.
That's how to turn a sprint car into an unrecognizable pile of metal pulp. We're gonna have to take a look at a replay. Hearing that it was Aiden Stoll, which I believe it was the same driver that had the SpongeBob helmet. So fortunately for SpongeBob, just went on a ride of a lifetime and finding his way to Bikini Bottom.
I think we can get a good look at what happens here. He goes up to the high side, the inside. And just, is that net code? Was that net code there?
Yeah, that certainly looked like it. Looked like there was probably about a foot and a half between the wheels when the contact was made. And iRacing not liking that one bit. Oh, look at that! Whenever I see some bad net code like that, it's like seeing a puppet with the puppeteer at the controls and just the puppeteer yanking that puppet up. That's exactly what that always looks like to me, and that's what we just saw there. A car getting ripped around to the side like a Beyblade.
That was some of the worst I've seen on dirt racing. That was one of the worst. Oh man, I hate that. I hate that for Aiden Stoll there. Because he did nothing wrong. He was, and the guy on his inside, and that was, I think, Pettit on his inside, was doing everything right as well. So, they were close racing, but not that close. Oh, man, that's a feels bad, man, for Aiden Stoll, as he was having a great night, and his night is done on lap number 1. Just Absolutely. Like that.
Yeah, that's such a shame, and I can't necessarily blame you, Adam, for hating that as much as George H.W. Bush hates broccoli.
I'm not going to ask. Not going there. Nope, not going there.
A round of presidential trivia in my social studies class in 8th grade gone terribly, terribly wrong. Anyways, 34 laps still left to go in this race, and with one driver already down, I wonder if that's going to kind of serve as a bit of a warning shot to the field.
Well, here we go. Pace truck will fall into the pits this time. Single file restart. And we are green once again with Blake Carrot launching here himself into lead, trying to get some space between him and Kendall Tucker, which I think sitting here tonight, I'm regretting my pick to possibly win this, as Kendall Tucker has had some great pace all night as well. Here comes Aiden Forrester trying to find the run, takes the middle of the racetrack. When it's a fresh racetrack, there's really kind of a couple of lines you can go to stay alongside or stay close. Now side by side down the front straightaway. Here comes Aiden Forrester. He'll get into second here on lap number 2. And just like that, or two, we're not even lap 2. We're on lap 4. I've missed a lap there. I blacked out. But Kendall Tucker has now fallen down to 3rd. And here comes Tanner Pettit in the 24 machine. He is trying to get up close. He would love a chance at winning this race. Winner of tonight's race gets $100, and everybody would love an extra $100 in cash. I know, Ron, you would like extra $100 in cash, but we're just paid to talk into a microphone.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do with $100. It's the city of Philadelphia, so I'd probably go out and buy a cheesesteak because it's sort of Philadelphia stereotypes here. That nearly ended in catastrophe off through turn number 1. Driver's going for a move on the inside. Yeah, Rumsey bringing the thunder, but in the process of that, nearly bringing the thunder down under to himself.
Well, Rumsey's got his elbows out here. He's already up 2 spots, trying to get more. And he's got to really work for it. But if there's anybody who's been really solid the last couple of weeks, it's him, as we have a caution. Looks like Seth Gregory, Yancey Beasley coming together here. Let's take a look at what happened.
So 3 wide racing already.
Oh, there was
cars merging in with one another. Somebody was already dead there. We're just going to ignore that. And we nearly saw another on-screen fatality with the driver sliding through with that car stopped on the bottom. There's the car that, hearing that it was Kenny Hoffman there who had already passed away. Let's see this here. Oh my goodness gracious! That was another kind of moment where a car just looks like it was yanked on strings.
Well, he got into the wall and got off of it, but the car next to him was a little bit too close for comfort, and you know, and when you're racing side by side closely like that, and you're on the wall and you're trying to get off the wall, and the thing is, if you're that car on the inside, you don't know that you're the guy on the outside's in the wall. You just don't know that. So just an unfortunate racing incident there for Kenny Hoffman. And it looks like he's into the pit. Seth Gregory is out as well. So 3 cars have fallen victim here tonight to USA International Speedway. All because you make the A feature doesn't mean you have completed the job. So now we are 28 laps away from the checkered flag.
And for as long as I can remember, I've had memories, but this has been a wild start to this race. And you know how I said that it was going to be maybe a warning shot when we had that first incident? I'm gonna say that the warning shot is not going to be received. With this being the time where the pay window opens up, everybody's going to be bringing the thunder, and with every single incident that we have, I think it's just going to increase the level of aggression that we see with time running down on the clock. Everybody getting a little bit antsy as we get to the end of this race too.
Well, again, single file restart here. Pace truck in this time, and we are back to racing. here at USA International Speedway. We are now running almost an hour and a half here today. Blake Carrick out in front again. Kendall Tucker, great move to get around Aiden Forrester for the second spot. Nice little slide job there. Done it safely, but here comes Forrester. He goes around the outside, gets the job done, but Kendall Tucker bringing it back. Also, here comes Tanner Pettit now. Fighting for position, and Kendall Tucker slides up the track, takes second away, but gets crossed over by Forrester again. Now, here's Pettit. Holding strong on the top side. It seems like that top side of the racetrack working really well. As you can see, the rear bumper, as we'll call it for you non-dirt car people, rubbing against the wall a little bit there for Forrester, as now finally Pettit getting around the 00 of Kendall Tucker. 24 laps here to go here at USA International Speedway. Hayden Cardwell up to 7th. Logan Rumsey as well. He's now into the 7th spot. Hayden Cardwell in 6th. Looking for some biggest movers. Ooh.
Carrick. I think Carrick had a sideways snap off through 1 and 2 and nearly lost out the lead to Forrester.
Well, right now, our biggest mover of the night, the hard charger so far, is Logan Rumsey. Keeps going between 4 and 5 spots, and now he's going to get 2 for 1 here. Gets 6 spots up the field after starting in 11th. He is making his way forward here. Here's our graphic right there, up 6 spots on the night. He's got some serious pace in that race car. Now, Ron, I'm going to tell you something. That the rep on that car, he's from your, not technically your neck of the woods, more north from you. But that is the livery of the Concrete King, Anthony Macri, who probably is one of the best sprint car racers in the country right now. And Rumsey's driving that race car like he is Anthony Macri.
Yeah, as we briefly saw the rear wing get ripped off of that race car there, that was ugly. A brief ugly sight, but an ugly sight nonetheless. Took a little off the top for Aiden Forrester, who's darting around in that race car, trying to find any way in the book to get past Carrick, and he goes for the move down the inside into the turn. A slider move through 4. Will it stick? I'm not sure if it will.
Carrick, and we got a caution. Caution is out.
You know, Adam,
Ryan,
with the
sheet. Let's see what happened here.
Oh boy, crowded a bit. I think that's been a consistent feature throughout the night, hasn't it, Adam? Drivers being really darty on the steering. Nothing they can really do, though. I remember adoring this combination, but you can feel it in the arms. Super strong bumps, super strong force feedback, and it is almost impossible to keep that nose fully with you. It's always going to be a little bit darty, and that's led to so many incidents taking place hanging out the turns, specifically out of 2. That's been the real trouble spot tonight.
Yeah, it's been really, you know, as we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, this is not the widest racetrack in iRacing and on dirt. You know, it's pretty narrow. It's not as narrow as you would say as a Williams Grove, but the turns are tight, and you feel like you can keep it flat out, but you also can't. It's you got a heavy car. You still got this race car full of fuel, as we haven't even hit the halfway point. You know, and these cars can just get out of sorts really quickly. You know, and that's part of it, is the downforce. Now take that downforce away, and you got yourself a death machine and everything. But these sprint cars, I mean, they just hit like a certain, just the way you kind of turn through, and Sometimes you can feel that groove, especially on this racetrack. If you feel that groove, stay in that groove. But the minute you get out of it, your car just wants to take you all the way up to the wall.
It's like petting a cat or a pit bull. You know, if you can find the right spot to scratch behind their ears, you'll be fine. If you hit the wrong spot, you're going to get your head bit off.
Well, Blake Carrick will be thanking his lucky stars that caution came out, but here we go again. Green flag flies. 19 laps to go. And now Tanner Pettit and got off to a start there, but caution is out once again. Jeffrey Hyatt with an incident here. Let's take a look.
Oh. No.
Just
Dominoes.
Yeah. The field had that Constantina effect. And that's how you turn a wing sprint car into a non-wing sprint car. So Hyatt's out. We've lost 4 drivers here tonight. Ryan Sheet, Jeffrey Hyatt, Tyler Schell, Aiden Stoll, still all in the pits. And I'm looking here. Yeah, that's it. That's all the drivers out here so far. And just some unfortunate events for some of these drivers. Some of them just innocent bystanders. Some of it just net code. So 18 laps to go. Here at USA International Speedway next Wednesday. There'll be different commentators in the booth, but the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series heads back to Volusia. So make sure you tune in, hit like, and subscribe. You do not want to miss a thing of that. Honestly, I can't wait for iRacing to go back down to Volusia and rescan it with the new surface that has been installed. Now we should be 1 to go here under caution. And that is accurate. Pace truck lights are out. Field through turns 3 and 4. We are back to green. You can see the 3 Mac Tool cars out in front here. And now the field getting bunched up. Now we're side by side for the race lead for just a moment as Carrick got into the wall through 1 and 2. Now 3 wide for the race lead here out of turns 3 and 4. And Carrick ripping the lip. He will keep a hold of the race lead, but he knows that he's got some very stiff competition right behind him here, Ron.
Yeah, this is going to be as much of a game of offense as it will be defense in this battling for the top spots. Everybody moving their way around the field. Dudek swapping spots a little bit further behind. Cardwell involved in his own battles now with Ryan Avila in the number 49 car, but Carrick holding on to that P1 spot. I wonder what's going to happen here first. Is Aiden Foster going to finally make that charge and make it stick? We have seen that number 35 car pull it side by side with your race leader thus far here tonight. However, it hasn't been a consistent challenge. Meanwhile, farther behind, it is really broken up. Quite frankly, disorganized. It's more disorganized than my middle school locker, for crying out loud. I'm not sure if anybody else really has an opportunity to make a lunge. I think it is Jess Forrester that can challenge the dominance that we have seen thus far from Blake Carrick.
Well, look at here. Hayden Cardwell now into the top 5. And he has now moved up 5 spots since the... No, that's Cardoza, excuse me. since the drop of the green flag here. Keep an eye on Cardwell. He will come. He's coming alive now that we are past the halfway point here. Cardoza right now, your biggest mover, the hard charger so far. And he's in this battle here. He has a chance to win this thing. Here comes Cardwell now into the top 5 as well. Battling with Kendall Tucker, who had early pace early on, but nothing going for him his way here so far. You can just see everybody side just trying to jockey out for position here, trying to find some extra pace. As Carrick right now out in front taps the wall, just gives it a nice little love tap here. But Aiden Forrester not able to take advantage. Carrick down low. Here comes Forrester up high. Pettit was looking low for just a brief moment. Couldn't make the move stick. Now Forrester, great run, gets even closer. He knows if he commits that top side, he can find a run. But if Carrick stays on the high side, that's going to be really difficult. But now those guys right there as the 35 of Forrester sniffing the back bumper. Now they're going to be side by side down the front straightaway. Forrester takes the lead here with 9 laps to go. What a move there, and Carrick's into the wall, and he is going to fall out of the podium here after leading this entire race here so far, and that puts Cardoza into a podium spot. Now side by side, Cardwell and Carrick battling it down the front straightaway. Carrick finally getting back on the loud pedal, trying to refine that pace, but now Cardwell dives down the
wall again.
Up. Oh, and Carrick, he is in all sorts of trouble here. He is now in 5th. Oh, man. Now 3 wide.
Oh!
For 4th, and Carrick makes contact with Kendall Tucker. Now loses spots. Here comes Logan Rumsey into 6th.
Yeah, Carrick just trying to get back into the swing of things. He hit the wall, and I'm not sure whether it's damage on that race car or just a lack of momentum, but he is dropping down like an elevator with the cable cut. He sends it into turn number 1 and 2, goes for the slide, and the momentum going to stall out once more. He may be chopped liver to everybody else. Seth Gregory making a move on him soon. In the meantime, Aiden Forster, my apologies, has been able to hold on to a race lead now of 9/10 of a second. He can nearly make that a full second up at the front of the field. Shows you how quickly these races can turn on their heads after being dominant in the early stages, dominant throughout the night. Carrick, a small little moment, snowballs into a cacophony of chaos, and look where he finds himself in. It's still not a horrible position, but compared to what he was at before, that is downright terrible.
He is going to be kicking himself as the rubber really starting to lay on. The track is starting to slow down just a bit. And you can see Logan Rumsey, he is now in the 6th spot, has made 7 spots up, now moves into the top 5, up 8 spots as he gets by Kendall Tucker. He's coming alive here, but 3 laps to go. He's got a lot of work ahead of him still if he wants to win this race. But Aiden Forster, your race leader, has a 1.1 second lead over Tanner Pettit. These guys going back and forth. Let's go back out to the race leader of Pettit, or of Forster, excuse me. Forster, who probably saw himself winning this race, but had a lot of work to do. Final lap one more time around here at USA International Speedway. There goes Forrester down into turns 3 and 4. What a race. Stand up and take a bow. Number 35, Aiden Forrester wins here at USA International.
Yeah, what a way to do it. What a way, what a race that was. Oh my, you know, throughout all the chaos and craziness throughout the night, from drivers upside down and barrel rolling on the circuit, 5 wide racing at certain points as well, and I mean, that was some of the best sprint car racing I've ever gotten the opportunity to cover, and what a way to decide the main event winner. The dominant racer dropping down like an anvil push out of a helicopter, and a man who is there to capitalize, who is always applying the pressure to your at one point race leader, getting the race lead himself, and when he jumped into that top spot, he never looked back.
Aiden Forrester, your winner here tonight with Tanner Pettit in second. Making up the rest of the podium, Landon Cardoza, who made up a total of 5 spots on the day. Hayden Cardwell will finish in 4th. Logan Rumsey, our hard charger here tonight, up 8 spots. Ryan Avila in 6th, with Kendall Tucker in 7th after starting in 2nd. Seth Gregory, he made his way back after an earlier incident. Blake Carrick, he'll be kicking himself after tonight after leading what seemed like forever. Had this race wrapped up and packaged up and ready to take the trophy. He's done. He makes a small mistake, falls down to 9th. Kenny Hoffman makes out the top 10. Outside of the top 10 tonight, you got Casey Simmons, Matthew Crow, Ashton Farr, Yancey Beasley, Anthony Villegard, Patrick Spangler, Bradley Cox, Connor Dudek, Jeffrey Hyatt, Ryan Sheet, who did not finish tonight. So these guys from basically 15th on back were non-finishers here. And our final 2 results here, Tyler Schell and Aiden Stoll, who went out very early in this one. Oh, man. That's why we love sprint car racing right there. And we get to chat with some of the drivers here tonight. Looks like we got Aiden Forrester. Let's bring him in for a chat. Aiden Forrester, our race winner, joins us now. Aiden, you had a lot of work to do, elbows out racing, but tonight you claimed the top spot.
Yeah, we had an awesome car tonight. We were able to, I think we started 4th there, and we were able to pass a few really good cars there and just got into a good rhythm there. Once we got in the lead, just clicking off really good laps, good consistent laps, and we were able to stretch the lead out there and come out with the $100.
Well, at the midpoint of the race, you had taken the lead, but the caution came out. Were you sitting there going, oh, come on, you need to keep it green here?
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what I was thinking. It's just my luck there. But we had a really good car. It was just able to get back into a rhythm after that unfortunate caution that really hurt us and set us back. I wasn't sure if there's going to be some chargers coming through the field. So we were able to get around Blake there pretty quickly. And we, like I said, we just had a really good pace there. Once I got out front, I was just able to click off really consistent laps and felt really good. So we'll take it. It's pretty cool to get one of these. We haven't raced much since Pro ended back in December for the sprint cars, so it feels good to come out with another one.
Well, who would you like to thank for getting this car into victory lane?
Yeah, first of all, I can't thank Tanner Pettit Racing TPR enough for all the work he puts in for all of us, giving us the speed we need to compete at this level. So can't thank him enough. Can't thank Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Aces Up Sim Sport, CD Cinematography, Trackside Collective, Ethan Johnson at Free Speed, just all those guys that help us out.
Well, congratulations. You get the $100 tonight in the top step of the podium.
Thank you.
Aiden Forrester, our race winner. We'll bring in, looks like Landon Cardoza. Actually, no, never mind. Here's Tanner Pettit, actually. So we'll bring him in next. Our second place finisher, Tanner Pettit. Tanner, 1 spot short tonight, but that car sure had some good speed out there.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of committed to the bottom side there, hoping we'd find some grip there late, and it was just really even all the way around and produced some really good racing, and just didn't quite have enough to get up to Aiden there, who was pounding it down, doing a really good job out front.
Well, it seemed like all you guys, you had 3 guys up there up front all night long. That's got to feel really good for TPR to know that all 3 of you guys tonight entered this race and you were up front for the majority of the night.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm super proud of the guys that I work with, and I thank them for sticking by me and trusting me with the setups and all that. And yeah, we put out a good showing there after this year's Pro Series. We definitely practiced a little bit and got ourselves competitive again, and I'm glad to see it show out even in league races afterwards.
Anybody, of course, you would like to thank for your second place run here tonight?
Yeah, of course, I'd like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, and I'd like to thank Brody for putting on this league. It's a bunch of fun. I'd also like to thank all my team guys: Kenny, Aiden, Blake, Ross, Ashton, Clayton, Ethan, Ryan. All of them are a huge asset to our team, huge help. I'd also like to thank Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Aces Up Sim Sports, CD Cinematography, Trackside Collective, Sim Rap Market, Blake Carrick Racing, Jordan Casey, and Ethan Johnson for all the help on the late model side of things. Yeah, a lot of people to thank. It was a blast tonight.
Well, congratulations, Tanner, on your second place run, and we'll see you hopefully next week at Volusia.
Thank you. I appreciate it. See you there.
Tanner Pettit, our second place finisher. Next, we'll bring in Landon Cardoza here. Our third place finisher, Landon Cardoza. Landon, third place, probably what you were looking at that with how many cars were out there, maybe a little worrisome, but here you are on the podium.
Oh yeah, not a bad night. For a lot of us guys that have been running pro, at least on most guys at BBS, we haven't ran many laps since probably about 2 months now. So to be able to hop back in the car and just feel comfortable and be able to maneuver and move up like that. I mean, that was a pretty racy track for kind of what us guys were expecting with a 6-minute warm up before that all. But no, yeah, not a bad night. Could have been worse, and move on to the next one.
Well, how much did the track change throughout that 35 lap A feature?
Oh, I mean, it was a drastic change. I mean, just for myself, starting the bottom, pretty much the whole first quarter of the race, from like halfway, 3/4 of the race, it was all just like a slider lane both ends, and kind of got a little boring racing wise for a while. And then we had a late race caution with probably like 15 laps to go, and it got a little racy there at the end. I thought for a while I was the quickest car on track and was moving around, got past Kendall, and I was like, oh, we're going to get up to Aiden and Tanner, and my line just kind of died off a little quicker than I expected. But no, drastic changed. A lot better than, like I already said, we expected for the track to be, and yeah, excited to just be able to get back in the car and have some pace still.
Well, who would you like to thank for this third place run here tonight?
Oh, just all the normal guys. Everyone at BBS, Colin, Casey, Connor, Matt, Howie. I mean, the list goes on for days. Top Shelf Graphics, Apex Industries, Stephen Gaines Consulting, Hen Heating and Air Consulting, and I mean, just everyone that helps out. We don't run a lot of laps anymore, but whenever we get on, it's very fun to still be competitive. And thank you guys for the broadcast, and Brody for putting this deal on.
Well, congratulations, Landon. You had a great race, and we'll hopefully see you next week at Volusia.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Landon Cardoza, our third place runner, I should say. Well, Ron, how do we describe this one here tonight?
Yeah, I said right towards the top end of the show that we were probably going to see a bare knuckle fist fight in racing form, and a bare knuckle fist fight we got. Not a lot of people ended up on the floor, however, but I was certainly floored with the fantastic racing that we saw throughout the night. Drivers spread around the track like melted butter on a piece of freshly toasted sourdough bread. It was an amazing way to spend a night, and hopefully to all the viewers tuning into this broadcast as well, they enjoyed it just as much as we enjoyed covering the action, because that was intense. From the hecticness of the feature to the heat races leading up to it, that was a banger of a night.
It really was, and that feature, 35 laps, that's a long time in the race car. So, and to our viewers, we apologize for the technical mishaps, and luckily we were able to sort those out and give you some great live coverage here of the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. Well, next week, the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series heads back to Volusia. You'll hear two different voices on that broadcast, as I am I'm away, unfortunately, and I don't know if Ron, you're back on, But I hope you all enjoy that. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Show some love for Maconi Entertainment. And if you love this type of racing like I do, you do not want to miss out because we have some wonderful shows still to come here in the coming weeks. Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Howie, for your hard efforts and work tonight. And for you viewers at home, thank you so much for joining us. For Ron, Howie, and everyone here at Maconi Entertainment and the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series, we will say good night.